tackle the foe. 3, 2, 1, revolt!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Azumi Game Devlog Week 6? 6 or 7? Fuck, I don't remember. Last week's vlog was weird, it threw me off my groove. Anyways, we have a new build available today. I have thrown a slapdash together fix for the respawn bug that was plaguing the last couple weeks of release. The final death and respawn menu is still not been implemented. But everything else is going really well. Added a lot more animations to Azumi. Added those explosions and extra cathartic feeling effects when enemies die. I don't know if I went overboard, but feels kind of nice. Hits feel really good. A lot of things have been happening. I got everything done on the board last week that I wanted to do, so the schedule was working really well. So I made another one this week, and the schedule is really what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to put on it. So there are two main chunks to the Azumi vertical slice. There's the arena, which you guys have seen mostly, the stuff that I just demoed and what I've been demoing for the last couple months now. But there's also the tutorial section, which I haven't demoed as much because there really isn't much beyond this general layout. The idea is to teach you the mechanics of playing the game. So the basic, movement, the controls, jumping, double jumping, wall climbing, fighting enemies, dodging to avoid damage, and then ranged attacks, healing, and then you'll exit through here and go into the arena and start the actual encounter. It's the main portion of the vertical slice. I've mentioned this multiple times. We've been following these devlogs for a while. You kind of know the gist. However, today, I wanted to ask you guys a question of how I should be using my time. So, in terms of the arena, almost everything's ready to go. On my schedule right now, I have add a death animation for Azumi, which is going to be sad to do. Then add the pause menu, where you just hit the escape key and it'll pause the game, and then you can either quit the game or continue. And then the death menu. So when you die, a menu will pop up. Do you want to restart the arena section, or do you want to quit out of the game and go back to the main menu? Something like that. Very simple stuff. Won't take too long to implement. I can probably get that done by Wednesday and have the entire arena section complete. The rest of development will be for this tutorial section. And believe it or not, this will be very involved. Because the idea is that as you go through here, there's going to be little invisible barriers that you touch. And there's going to be a whole dialogue box system that I'll have to build where the sword kind of talks to you how to do these things, because Azumi has a living sword. For people who might not be aware, the sword that you use is alive, and he's an asshole and a wise ass, and makes bad jokes and stuff like that. And that'll be where you kind of see the character interaction between these two, is in this little tutorial as you go through here, and the sword makes jokes and makes fun of you and all that kind of stuff. and you get a sense of their character. Because in the main arena, it's nothing but combat, so you don't really get that. Because it seems almost weird to have a long tutorial section for what's essentially a 5-minute vertical slice. But the reason I wanted to include it was for that character building. So when people play this game, the gameplay feels nice in the arena, but also you get an idea for Azumi and the sword, who doesn't have a name yet. He will by the time this comes out. Um, you'll understand their character, their dynamic, and that's really the linchpin that I think is going to sell people on being interested in playing the full game. I hope the gameplay does well, but I think it's going to be the characters and the writing that really sells it. Because again, Azumi is planned to be more than just a game. She's planned to be like animations and comics and other stuff to kind of like flesh out her character, and just do a lot of cool stuff, and just be an outlet for my creativity in whatever form it takes. That's the idea. That all being said, I'm starting to wonder if a tutorial is the best way to realize the goals that I just stated. Because what if instead of doing a tutorial that is largely irrelevant because playing the game can probably be explained just as easily through a, splash screen that comes up that shows you the controls, and 95% of people who have played a video game will understand what those controls mean, and instead take the time that it would take to finish developing the dialogue system and stuff for the tutorial tunnel, and instead make something like a cutscene that kind of introduces the character dynamic in a more, well, dynamic sort of way, having multiple camera angles and things like that. It would be kind of in the style of a 16-bit cutscene, so it would mostly be kind of like stills with very limited animation, but it would be a more cinematic way of introducing these characters and their dynamic before jumping into the game. And I could possibly also do some other standalone sort of 16-bit style cutscenes to really sell that Mega Drive, Sega Genesis aesthetic. Because my visuals, I think, are not 100% authentic, but they're close enough that people get the idea. And then I have Slamrarn, and now also my friend from the Pony Days, Adar, who just hit me up out of the blue and is making music for the game. So the soundtrack is on fucking point, and that's really what's going to sell the Sega Mega Drive, Sega Genesis aesthetic is the soundtrack much more than my visuals. Because they could be either Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo, but when you hear that music, you know which platform this is really paying homage to. So I'd like to kind of push that even further with maybe some 16-bit style cutscenes. Um, and the good thing about these cutscenes, if I make cutscenes or like little animations or motion comics that can be independently viewed of the game, people who might not be interested in playing the game can still experience the character and become a fan of the character aside from the games, because the game's not the only part of it. So my question is, what do I do with Thursday and Friday? Because if everything goes well, the arena will be done. And that's the bulk of the vertical slice. Should I take the time from now until release to work on finalizing the tutorial tunnel and getting those dialogue systems set up? Or should I take the time and prioritize making cutscenes and animations that are more dynamic in examining these characters and their interaction? I don't really know, so I'm asking you guys. I'm interested in feedback. So if you're a patron, you're in the Discord, you can hit me up directly. Also, there already is actually. I've re-recorded this video multiple times, but as of a couple hours ago, as of recording this video, there are already links to it on ZeroNet and direct download. But even if you're not a patron and you kind of just been following these devlogs visually, I'm interested in hearing your opinion in the comments below. So thanks a lot for watching. It's 3:20 a.m. I'm sure you can see my screen. It's late. I'm gonna get some rest. Get going tomorrow on some more work. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next week.